Hello ladies and gentlemen, here is your impact review for the BFG series, the beginnings of it. Now I'm going to do all the matches first because since a lot of the remaining bit of the show was orientated towards aces and eights and what happened with Sting and also the knockouts, I want to get rid of the matches first because they weren't bad matches. There was one gem in there. The rest were okay. Now seeing Joseph Park go against Anderson, I did not expect Anderson to lose this. And I understand that Fool Killer 99 really wasn't fond of Joseph Park winning over Crimson. Now, I've said I have not seen OVW. And I'm hoping that when I get more time after the problems I'm having right now, I'll try and look at that part of the product for the developmental so I can know what's going on. But I can say this. Having Joseph Park there, I still believe it's a good thing because you need an enhanced jobber. Robbie E is not there. Also, if you do not have Joseph Park do something, you won't have one good reason to bring in Abyss. I'm hoping that they will continually show Abyss. People were so ecstatic that the Abyss came back. But like I said before, where I felt that it was a rush, or I felt that they were going to bury the Joseph Park character before they were going to actually show Joseph Park turn into Abyss, because that's what I believe will eventually happen. If I'm wrong, like I've said before, I don't mind being wrong. I don't know everything. No one does. But seeing Abyss periodically while Joseph Park is on the BFG series will make it a reason for him to be shown. I don't believe they're going to bring him out without Joseph Park being in the BFG series. They need him. And as much as I can understand Fool Killer 99's decision about this, which is a very valid one, I do believe that Crimson, if he has done some good progression in OVW, he deserves to win a match and be in there. He's been gone for a year. And if he has progressed really well, he does deserve to be in the BFG series. They didn't do that well with him when he had that winning streak. He should have gone into the main event scene afterward. Even if he had lost afterward, which he needed to, at least he would have been a main eventer, or at least a good mid-carder. But it didn't happen. So in this case, we'll be seeing Abyss periodically while Joseph Park gets his ass whipped. And probably he'll win a couple of matches. He'll lose most of his matches. It doesn't really matter if he wins or loses because his popularity has already gone beyond his matches, which is the truth. Now, Bradley against Austin Aries. I was surprised to hear this one. I didn't expect Bradley to call out Austin Aries. I didn't. But seeing the match was actually very good. It was a very fast-paced match at certain points. And it wasn't very long. And then seeing Austin Aries give the brainbuster to Bradley was good. You need to show Austin Aries as a dominant figure. And this actually raises up a Bradley. I hope they give him more time to talk. Let him have a feud with someone during the BFG series. Let him go up against a Robert Roode. Let him go up against a Jeff Hardy. It's important that we bring this guy up because we need more people. And this is a very good thing, in my humble perspective. Now, Chavo having that moment with Superman. And I know people don't care about Chavo. They don't care. I understand it. I said it a long time ago that Chavo was going to splinter off from Superman and eventually become a heel. And may go after the world title. Or maybe the TV title. Either one. I still believe that's going to happen. But seeing Superman talk. I have Genesis 2005, I believe. I think it's 2006 or 2005. I picked it up around 2008 when I was having a very bad relationship with somebody. And I had never seen the product of TNA. Unfortunately, during these years when TNA came up, I'm not going to lie, I couldn't afford cable. And I know people are going to say, dude, where have you been? How can you afford cable? Well, majority of my check being to my kid and keeping this wrecking apartment and other things like divorce, getting a divorce, it really taxes you, and you have to decide if you want to have a place to live or do you want TV and then eventually use your home. A lot of my money went into different things. So I really could not see TNA. I'm not going to lie about that. But seeing the 2005-06 of Genesis, I saw a little bit of America's Most Wanted while they had Cornette there at that time. and then seeing LAX, I heard Chavo talk. I mean, not Chavo. I heard Supermet talk. And I realized when I started doing these videos, remembering and reviewing that video, that Supermet should be allowed to talk, and he should have. Mexican America sucked because he could not talk. In this case, when you heard him talk, even if it's briefly, it was way more interesting than hearing Chavo. When he called Christopher Daniels out, it felt good to hear him talk. Of course, I didn't expect him to win, and he did not win. Chris wins 7 points. But then when Kazarian came right afterward, after the commercial, which was all right. I'm glad they did back-to-back on most of these matches. No problem. When I heard him talking, I realized he was going to call out Magnus, and he did. I didn't expect Magnus to lose at all, but I didn't expect him to use the Texas Cloverleaf to win and get 10 points, which was really good. That made me feel really good to see Magnus push that way. Kaz isn't a bad talent, but he's really going to be a jobber most of the time. He's only an added extra for Bad Influence because Christopher Daniels is such a good heel. He's the third best heel in the company. Kaz is a distant fifth. So seeing this was not uneventful. It was perfectly what is supposed to be done. Now, AJ Styles and seeing Samoa Joe. That was the match of the night for me. And I'm sure some people might say Hardy and Robert Roode was the match of the night, but I personally feel that it was AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. I know they faced each other years before, but you know what? I find that if they have a feud while they're doing the BFG series, I will be invested in it, because I didn't want to see a Kazarian with AJ or a Christopher Daniels with AJ. This feels refreshing, even if it is quite old. Honestly. They've known each other for so long. They know each other's moves. And admittedly, when you look at AJ, he's more methodical now. He doesn't rush his movements, so it makes it refreshing. As long as he doesn't do super high impact moves like he used to do, and go from one to another, this is a much better AJ Styles character. This lone wolf, I am alone, I can do whatever I want. And seeing him win, but not win, was epic. Having a draw for both Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, they don't have to be put over, either one. Seeing AJ attack Samoa Joe afterward was perfect. This could promote a feud while they're doing the BFG series, which is okay. You can have matches outside the BFG, and having these two together, will give us something more interesting in the next 3 months. And I hope it does happen. Now, let me see. The Hardy and Roode, I'm going to get this one over with. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anything. Chavo, Bradley, Anderson and Park. Yeah, I think I got all the matches. Seeing Roode and Hardy was a good match. It wasn't bad. Hardy winning by regular pinfall was okay. It goes along with how things are going in the BFG. Do I believe Hardy will make it to the end? I do believe that. If he doesn't, I'll be quite surprised. Robert Roode will probably be with him. I don't know about the rest yet, because it's going to be shifting for the next 3 months. Those two did what they needed to do before the end of the show. Now, I'm going to move on to... I'm moving on to the Knockouts and Brooke Hogan, who looked... If anyone had seen I believe her name is not Marilyn Monroe. It was Jane Mansfield. That other woman back in the 60s who had bigger boobs and a bigger ass than a Marilyn Monroe. And to me personally, if you look at Marilyn Monroe, Norma Jean, compared to a Jane Mansfield, you look at these two women, who do you believe is more sexy? I know a lot of people would say a Marilyn Monroe, but Jane Mansfield with those big, beautiful breasts, those gorgeous eyes, that gorgeous body, and she was a big woman. She wasn't small. I believe was a much better looking woman, but I do believe that a Marilyn Monroe was a much better actress in certain points of her career before she ended the way she did. Jane Mansfield did very good in other ways. But the reason I brought them up is that a Brooke Hogan reminded me of a Jane Mansfield, a gorgeous haired looking woman with a nice body walking to the ring and saying the state of the knockouts. It wasn't a bad segment for her. Calling out all the knockouts, including the tag team I don't understand about yet. I will explain in a minute. But seeing Eric Young going out there with ODB, there was only 5 knockouts out there. There was no Tara. There was no Brooke. That's it. You didn't even get Hendricks. I would have liked to see Hendricks there as well. I know that she's still in OVW, but seeing only those 5 knockouts was actually very disappointing. It shows how much knockouts have been degraded. But seeing that Brooke mainly told Eli, you know it's time to give up those titles, and seeing Eli hand them over, thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And the words of someone who believes in Christianity. Thank you, Jesus. That's how somebody would say it. I'm not Christian, but that is the best way to say it. And then seeing an ODB and Eric Young pretty much trying to screw one another, falling through the ring ropes. It was decently interesting. But the best thing about that was seeing the segment for a Mickie Jane. Mickie Jane loves being a heel. She looks hot. She speaks well. This is one of the best heels I've seen in TNA in quite a while. Angelina Love, I loved her. I missed her to hell. But she had a terrible gimmick. Madison Rayne, not that great. And I'm glad she wasn't on the show, and I don't know why she's still there if she's not shown. But you know what I mean. When it came to Tara, Tara's good. But I feel that Mickie Jane is such a refreshing heel. She overwhelms all the heel work that's done in the last 2 years almost. That's how refreshing it is. Someone entirely new who's turned heel, and she just sounded so prominent. And now hearing a Gail Kim saying she wants her title shot, but not getting it, going against a Terrence Terrell next week at Las Vegas in a ladder match. Dude, I've never seen a ladder match with women. Never. Me personally, like I said, I only been getting back into the product in the last near 8 to 10 years. I've been seeing it sporadically in the beginning, but nearly in 2008, that's when I was trying to get really into it. And I've never seen a ladder match. This is going to be interesting. And next to that night, we're also going to have the Knockouts Championship, because now Mickie Jane must defend against Velvet Sky. I have no problem with it. There is not one issue with that. Having 2 Knockouts matches, one a ladder match, and then the championship. My question is, are they going to put one in the middle of the show and one at the end? Or are they going to be silly enough to put it in the beginning of the excuse me. Excuse me, allergies. Or they're going to have to put one in the beginning of the show and one at the end. I really believe it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to put the card together for both these matches, because I think they're going to be more important than any match that's going to be shown that week. You don't get a ladder match much from women. And then you're going to have the title match where Mickie Jane is probably being featured as a heel. So I hope they're going to position it very well. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the main event Mafia. No, sorry, the new main event Mafia. Now, I did manage to catch some clips about the main event Mafia, where you had Booker T and his wife, you had Angle, then you have something that was going on with AJ Styles and Samoa Joe going up against them. I've seen a few videos to try and get an understanding of how the main event Mafia was going along with Steiner, along with everybody else. And it looked a bit interesting. But there weren't it really didn't feature that much of any young talent, unless they were going up against them. And then when Bully Ray was saying, I want my wife here, to Hogan, don't interfere, Hogan sends her away, and Bully Ray saying, come back, and she doesn't, and it's pretty much Sting at the end of the show comes out, and he basically confronts Bully Ray, and Bully Ray say, get out of my ring, I'm going to call my boys. And his boys get laid out. I'm thinking, who could have been the one that Sting spoke to? I wasn't sure if it was somebody who was old or someone that was just brought into TNA. I felt maybe it could have been someone that was brought back to TNA. I wasn't hoping it was Kevin Nash, and I wasn't hoping it was Scott Steiner. I didn't know who it would have been. For some strange reason, I was kind of wishing, I know it wasn't going to happen, Batista. I mean, he is currently in MMA, and I know Batista's not coming back right now in any promotion. He just wants to do MMA, but I was wishing, something was making me feel if we got Batista in TNA, it would explode the product so much. But the person that came out and put an ankle lock on Bully Ray was Kurt Angle. Did I have an interest for that? No. I was not interested at all. Because if Sting really wanted to do something dramatic for the new Main Event Mafia, he should have got a young talent first. I know some people may say it's good to see Angle there. He's the right person that he should have been called. But I feel he should have been, if he had to be part of the Main Event Mafia, the new one, he should have been called after a couple of new guys were brought in. If you're going to have a mix of old and new guys, it might work. But if it's a more old guys than it is new guys, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to be interested. And seeing Kurt Angle be the first one to be called in, and I think that this is because he's going to be into the Hall of Fame. For me personally, I felt that he could have been called later. Maybe about a month from now, he could have been called into the Main Event Mafia. Then it would be more dramatic. They would be bothering with him then. But calling him first, because of how he dealt with Sting, I really felt was wrong. I really felt that Kurt Angle should have not been called in immediately. He should have been called in after these one or two new guys. New guys, not old, are brought into the new Main Event Mafia. So I felt that this segment with Bully Ray, him, and Sting really felt flat personally for me. I didn't feel anything interesting. It felt very flat. So how do I rate this show? B- because of the end segment. It was good to see Brooke. It was good to see that Eli gave up the titles with ODB. It was good to see Magnus get 10 points. The match between AJ and oh man, Samoa Joe and AJ was a good match. I liked it and I loved the ending of a draw. Neither one had to put the other over. I really felt that was the wisest thing to do. Bradley going against Austin Aries was very good. I wasn't too interested in Chavo talking with Supermet. I wasn't 100% interested in Supermet going against Christopher Daniels, even though it was necessary for him to win. This show did what it needed to do. But I really felt the end segment really made it flat for me personally. So I'm going to give this a B-. So I hope you enjoyed this Zane's View. Subscribe and comment to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. I am very glad that everything is still going well with the Off the Rope Show Central. If you haven't seen that current video showing pretty much about Raw, which is not an announcement of Raw, that the Select Daddy is moving. Select Daddy, I hope everything works out for you. I'm very glad you're going to still do your shows, because I am a personal fan myself. And like I said before, one of the things that helped me to become better as a person and to do these shows was you and everybody else's enthusiasm. I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Do something that you're passionate about. You guys said that. You guys said if you want to try and do something like this, don't give up and be passionate about it. No matter if people watch your videos or not. Put your heart into it and enjoy it, no matter what happens. And if it does work, great. Get some money, great. But if it doesn't work, but you're still happy, that's all that matters. So I wish to thank you guys. And I hope both your new shows that Mike and Metal D do, and you, Select Daddy, personally, I really hope it also works out. So have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.